I'm Shalara with Greenhab Living. This is Foreclosure 101. We're going to go over some of the terminology so that we can understand what we're talking about in the rest of the videos. A few of the terms that trip people up when we're talking about talking to the bank, there's three options usually when you talk to the bank. There's a repayment plan, which is taking the past due amount and spreading it out over some agreed upon amount of time, and then your payments go back to normal when that's done. There is a forbearance, which means they are actually going to usually pause your payments being due. The trick with this one is they're usually going to make it a lump sum on the end for you to pay off when the house is sold or the loan is over. Definitely look into the terms of a forbearance agreement. The third thing, and what normally happens is with the bank, is called a loan modification. And there's three things they can modify. They can modify the original interest rate. So if it was a very high interest rate and now interest rates are lower, then they can modify that, and that's what they'll normally do. They can modify the length of the loan. So maybe it was a 30-year loan and you're 20 years into it. Maybe they'll extend it a little longer so the due date's longer and spread out some of those payments. Less likely, but they can also modify the principal amount due. And I've never heard of that happening, but technically they could. Another thing people talk about when we're discussing foreclosure sometimes is bankruptcy. I'm not an attorney. I don't do bankruptcy. There are different kinds of bankruptcy. Usually Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 are what we're talking about when we have a home involved, and only some of them will actually keep you in your home. So talk to an attorney and see what your options are with that. Find out what it'll cost, find out how it'll affect your credit, all that, so that you can make an informed decision when it's time. When it comes to the selling options with foreclosure, you have a few choices. You can do for sale by owner. That's selling it yourself, marketing it yourself, usually using a real estate attorney or a title agent to conduct the transaction, but still mostly doing the legwork yourself. And then you have a realtor, that's like a licensed agent to conduct real estate transactions. They will list it on the MLS where it'll get the most advertising and usually the highest price, but that does take longer, and they do charge commissions and broker fees and things like that. The last sell option is going to be a cash buyer. These are real estate investors, private individuals, or businesses that do real estate investment. Greenhab Living is a real estate investment company. And what they do is, as a private individual or as a business, they will just purchase the house outright, person to person. They can do that with cash, which means they can move faster than buyers who are using bank financing. Banks have a lot of hoops to jump through. They want inspections and appraisals, and they want everything to be fixed and all that stuff to protect their asset, whereas real estate investors can buy as is very quickly and solve a lot of problems with sort of cash on the spot, moving expenses, and improving your credit by bringing your payments current. And cash buyers can actually do some interesting stuff I had never heard of, something called subject to. And in this case, that means subject to the existing mortgage staying in place. So say you're facing foreclosure, a cash buyer might come and say, leave that mortgage in place, I'll bring it current, I'll buy the property and the title will be in my name, but the mortgage will stay in your name. And depending on what they plan to do with it, sometimes they'll rent it out and you can get some cash payments month to month, or just not have to deal with the foreclosure anymore. The mortgage actually stays in your name, and you should know that that's going to make it very difficult to buy another house. But if your plan is to go and rent somewhere, it's really not a problem. And it allows the cash buyer to buy super fast. That's what subject to means when a cash buyer is discussing it, is they're talking about leaving your mortgage in place, bringing it current, paying everything that's past due, and then they pay the monthly payment every month. This should probably be a whole other video. One last thing, another foreclosure term, it's called a short sale. And a short sale is asking the bank to accept less than what is currently owed because the house needs repairs or won't sell for some reason, won't sell for what is owed. You do want to make sure you read everything and understand what you're doing. There are cases where people have been scammed or misunderstood the situation and wound up selling their house when they didn't really want to. Make sure you understand everything that's being discussed. I hope that helped. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us at 210-701-1202 or find us at Greenhab Living online. And I hope you have a wonderful day.